and go. Boy, welcome.
Boy, oh boy.
Boy, oh boy, welcome.
Welcome, one. Welcome all.
We made it to another week. Someone is calling me.
Perfect timing on their part,
This
really.
is
They
not
couldn't
the
pick a
time.
better moment. Yeah.
I said office hours are closed from 8 to 10.
That's right. When the sign is up, you can't come into the office. It's closed.
Right.
You will be shown the door. We
Well,
will ask
you'll
your
see. The
opinions
door
on
is the only
door.
thing you'll see because it
Yeah,
won't
and
open
we'll
for
show
you.
it to And we'll be like, don't you think this is such a nice door?
You're like, yes. Could I see the other side of it? And, nice try. No.
Ah,
Office hours are closed.
that's right. We'll show it to you, the door.
Yeah. We'll
Can't
send-
get that across. We're really self-conscious about this door, and we need a lot of outside opinions on like the aesthetic that if it's like good for the building.
We have a pamphlet with a photo of the door. You can take it with you if you need time to decide how you feel about
Social
it.
distancing. We can't really show you the door in person right now.
Right. But you can see the door from your car.
You can, and we'll show it to you.
Right.
Is this episode 34?
It is.
My goodness.
It is indeed. We've done 34 of these suckers. Well, we've done more than that, but 34 since our return.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we did do like 8 episodes, like 4 years ago. But we're back.
Yeah. And
34 episodes later, we're back.
I finally it took me 34 episodes to actually feel like I was back.
Yeah. Now I feel like we're back though. Like now it's official.
Yeah. This is it, folks. We're officially back.
We are back after 34 episodes of being here, but not back.
Yeah, we weren't here emotionally, but now you get the full shebang.
My heart wasn't in it before, but doctors gave me my heart back, so now my heart is in it.
I had my heart removed and put into it.
Yeah, and I'm actually trying to get another. You know that scene from like One Tree Hill where the dude's heart gets eaten by the dog?
No.
You know that?
I
Oh
don't.
my goodness! You have to watch. I know we're drawing and like that's what we do on this show, but you have to watch this scene
I will.
right now.
Oh, right now. Okay.
This moment.
I will.
Swear to God. It's gotta happen. I'm gonna post it in the Discord. By the way, folks, if you all enjoy the shenanigans on this show, feel free to join the Discord. There's a link down below, and we post links to things we talk about on the show. Is it not One Tree Hill? Was there another show that had the word trees in it?
Probably. It's gotta be, right?
Eats part One Tree Hill. Okay. I'm not sure why. Okay. You have to see this. This
Yeah.
is quite possibly the best moment. And, like, I need you to keep in mind, and I'm posting this on the Discord channel right now in the links section, right below our link to Pinky Malinky. I posted the link, but just keep in mind, this is like a drama. Like, this is a serious show where, like, characters are like, Darren, you haven't been the same since you started doing the marijuana.
Since that dog ate your heart.
You got it. It's so absolutely preposterous, this whole scene.
I'm excited to see it. I watch it in just a moment. But as you were saying, if you ever want to know about all the stuff we're referencing, we don't show it directly on the channel, but you can watch it on the Discord or look it up yourself. But do the Discord option because that way it gets more people into our Discord.
Yeah, and we don't care if people watch our show. We just want them in our Discord.
Right,
It's
yes.
not amassing an army.
Yeah. Alright, I'll watch it here in just a second.
Such a... Okay, I just finished watching the clip, and it's still just as dumb as when
It
I
holds
first saw
up.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it holds up in its stupidity.
grapes.
Dang, I drew this perfect circle head, and I just realized that I don't like the way it's framing the rest of the drawing. So this is here we go.
Alright, I'm gonna watch this clip now. So the viewers at home will probably get the audio of it, but that's okay.
I mean, you can probably like put it in the like the corner of your screen at least if it's not like the full.
Whoops, are you there?
I think.
Hello, my bad. I clicked the wrong
okay.
thing.
Yeah, you can probably put it in like the corner of the screen or something. Just I don't know. It's
Okay.
up to how you do.
I'll do
You're
that.
the one
I'll do that.
doing all actually.
For okay, if you think it's okay to show it, then I will do that.
Like the corner of this. I mean, I've seen YouTubers do like, I react to this guy's 20-minute, and they just have this video in like the corner.
I was gonna say you do the YouTube, so that's why I always ask you because I don't, I do anything and I don't have to worry about being silenced.
Yeah, I'm not sure how like copyright struck it will get, but if you keep it small and not full screen,
All right.
I can only imagine. And it's only like 40 seconds. It's just. I don't see anybody trying to cash in on this moment of television because it's just so dumb.
They want it forgotten.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They're trying to put it in the Disney vault. Even in Disney's like, oh, we're too busy making a big mistake reopening our parks
Oh,
to
one sec, I have
do
to-
that sort of shit.
All right. All right, everyone. Here we go.
To OR West. Dr. Sebastian to OR West. Dr. Sebastian to OR West. Dr. Jameson to call extension 2524. Dr. Jameson to call extension 2524. Dr. Casper to the ER. Dr. Casper to the ER.
Oh no.
Nurse Henderson to admitting. Nurse Henderson to admitting.
Was the guy petting the dog the one who was supposed to get the heart?
The guy in the gown, who he gets the stern look from the dude. Yeah, he's supposed to.
Oh no.
Get in the hole.
Dog just ate his heart. That was
I love it.
amazing.
So good. What television?
I like that nobody does it. There's the dog just casually walks over and eats the heart, and everybody's just standing around. Nobody tries to grab the dog.
Yeah, I like how this hospital apparently just has the most lax regulations for how a human heart that is one of the hardest organs to get a hold of.
Yeah.
Just gets transported around.
Dude,
And apparently
so you're telling me... Wait, go ahead.
Just apparently the heart gets transported minutes before surgery.
Correct. And also, it's transported in a styrofoam cooler with just some ice cubes.
Yep.
And you just need a man to walk briskly down a hall.
Yeah. Who is
Out of my way, heart here.
So stupid.
Sure hope I don't trip, and then this easily openable container will spill the contents.
Right, and it's a heart. Once it hits the floor, even if the dog hadn't eaten the heart, it hit the floor. It's done. That heart is no good.
I don't know if human organs play by the 5-second rule. I'm not sure.
No, I think they play by the 0 sec. Once the organ, the reason it's in ice and in a container is it's supposed to be you can't drop even an M&M in somebody's body during surgery. So
what about a junior mint?
Mate, hey, is that a Seinfeld reference
It
right
is.
there?
Yes.
You can't. I've learned that. But yeah, it's just so dumb.
But what? Okay. I'm not gonna go arguing that people should be dropping human organs on the ground. I feel like there's some wiggle room. I feel like if you quick scooped it up, it might still work.
I wish we had a doctor.
I do so much.
Field this question to hey,
To know.
let's take this over to Jay. What's up, Jay? Do you know anything about this heart stuff? And Jay's just yeah, you.
Everybody knows.
Yeah.
So what do you think hurts the heart? Is it the jostling of it slapping on the ground?
No, I think it's just getting. Well, first of all, there's so much particles, like people
Oh,
walk
like it
around
gets like
with their
infected or dirty. It's not sterile
Yeah.
anymore. That's
Exactly.
probably
It's
true.
not
I wonder
like
if you could like
sterile.
rinse it off in the sink though.
I don't think you can just like
use Dawn.
run a heart underwater. I
They
think
use
it's
Dawn to
just
clean baby ducks, so I'm sure you could use it on a heart.
Oh yeah, baby duck, same thing. It's a human heart.
A baby duck is more gentle and easier to wreck than a heart.
Hello, my name is Brandon, and welcome to the tale of the duck heart, of the baby duck heart.
So is the human body
Turgid tale of the baby duck heart.
is the human body that great at like absorbing all the? I guess you all just said it's not about the force of it hitting the ground. It's about the germs and crap.
It's about the germs, and like
They're
the
probably-
floor is where you walk with your feet, and there's a dog there. There's people wearing shoes. Like people just like go and like that stuff hits the floor, and like on top of that, like just all the germs that are just on the floor. You know, it's just I don't think you can put that in a person. Then.
Right, it'd probably like get infected if you used a floor heart.
Floor heart, no good.
All right, fair enough.
But again, we'll have to defer to a doctor. I might ask a friend of mine who does a podcast with her best friend and defer to the medical one if she knows the answer to that.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting to know.
Yeah, folks. So I'll go talk to my friends who do a podcast called My Favorite Feminists. One of them is Yvette. I'll talk to them, see what kind of stuff Parks can.
Where can you listen to this
understand.
podcast? Just for the sake of plugging them while we
Just
mentioned it.
anywhere. I've checked. You can look
You
it
can
up
listen to
on
it in your
iTunes,
car. You can listen to
Spotify.
it on your phone, or like
You can.
going for a jog.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's available everywhere. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, it's pretty much right. They have their bases pretty well
I
covered.
started
Better
to
than
make
we
a joke,
do, actually.
but I wanted to stop. I don't want to hijack their plug with a dumb joke. So
I mean, it's not like they asked for the plug. It's very spur of the moment.
true.
But they're also definitely way ahead of the game in like what they're doing with like we haven't even like gotten this thing on like iTunes or anything like
Well,
that.
ours is more of a visual
Probably.
thing.
But yeah, but iTunes does visual podcasts. I've downloaded a bunch of podcasts on it that are like cooking instructions with like a video component.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess you had told me that before.
Yeah.
But I just keep forgetting,
Imagine
and I will
once
again.
we get ourselves on iTunes, then we'll be doing probably the same numbers as we are.
Yeah. I do it for the love of the fans, not for any other reason. So.
Oh, I'm totally greedy on this. Money.
Well, we don't have either.
Capitalism.
Speaking of which, Captain Sheepy in the chat.
What? We have another cap? Oh, snap. Hey, Cap. Back again with the emojis.
That's the only way to make yourself known.
I mean, we're working on emojis.
It's like,
The
yeah,
channel
we're gonna have our own
is
emojis
hard.
soon.
I got a list. I could spend the rest of this episode just reading out my list.
Your list is insane. We gotta narrow it down to not necessarily permanently narrow it down, but like start with more.
Yeah.
The more important ones. And then when we get all those done, then we can worry about doing all the extra.
All the meme ones, yeah. Have you been working on any art as of late?
I have. I've had a lot of jobs, but most of them aren't things I can really share on social media and stuff.
Because they're private?
Yeah, just like,
Are you doing boudoir photos?
yeah. It's furry boudoir.
Well, hey, those are the ones that pay the most.
That's why I'm doing them.
They say that the person who like pays independent artists the most in commissions is like some doctor or lawyer who's just like always asking for like Sonic porn.
Yeah. They're like, wow, I thought being successful as a human would snap me out of these ways, but it turns out I just like anthropomorphic dogs, and that's that.
I'm just gonna get my freak on and use my money to do so, and I respect that. I mean, at least they're giving their money to independent artists.
True.
That's pretty cool of them to do that.
Yeah.
And they pay well, and they're very like apparently they're like a great client to work with. So
I've heard that they're one of the most high-paying, like illustration jobs because most people don't want to do it.
Yep.
and there's demand. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, again, anyone who gets that kind of work, like, you know, I'm on Twitter a fair amount. I try and be on Twitter less because it's a hell site.
Mhm.
But, you know, sometimes you just gotta keep track of how the fire is going when the world is burning.
Right. You want to know
So,
what
like
what hour the doomsday clock is on?
Yeah, exactly. Like, when exactly are the bombs dropping? So I can say goodbye to anybody. I don't know. There's nothing I can do with bombs. Anyways, but there was this whole discussion going on. There's always art discussion happening on art Twitter where like one person says something and then like it's controversial and then there's like a whole discourse. So like one person who was one side like they posted their prices for commissions.
I know what you're talking about. I saw it.
Yeah, and like they do furry porn, so like whatever, that's the thing. Again, make money. It's good money. I have friends who are considering entering the same business because it is good money.
Yeah.
But you know, their prices were like pretty huge. Like
they were insane.
5,000 for like some drawings or stuff like
Yeah.
that. But like the thing that like a lot of folks were angry. They're going like, how could you charge this much money? Like, et cetera, et cetera. And it's just like, well, first of all, the art is a luxury. Like you,
right?
Like if you can't afford the art, like then that's
go to
like
go
this
to a
guy's
different
price.
artist.
Yeah, exactly. Go to a different artist who's going to charge less. If you want this guy's art, you have to pay for it. Like that's just what it comes down to. Like even if it's a high price, like if they can charge that money without and like that's a viable business for them, like
Then
good for them.
More problem
man.
to them.
They
I'd do
made
the
it.
same thing if people would
Pay that much.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so it was interesting because like all the artists were pretty much, you know, being reasonable about being like, hey, like this guy can charge what he wants. Like you pay a plumber what the price he sets, and it's huge. So why not the same thing? It's all specialized labor. But it was just interesting to see. It's always interesting to see like people who have no, like usually the people who complain about that kind of stuff are the folks who are like, if you were to say like, well, why don't you draw something? They're just like, oh, I could never draw. Like I could never.
Right.
If I put pen to paper, like I could never make it work.
And they obviously don't buy art either.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, oh, I could never draw like you, and I should just never try. But then they're also the same. Like the Venn diagram is a circle for those folks, and then the folks who are like, you're charging so much for your art, like it's ridiculous. This is unfair.
It's like, well, they can charge $1 million if they want. Doesn't mean you have to buy it, but they can charge that.
Yeah. Just because you have access to like reply to their Twitter account doesn't mean they have to cater to you.
So I did see that, and yeah, it's cool if they can sell their work for that amount. That's awesome. But some of the discussion I saw that you'd think I'd be for it because I am an artist, but the only part that annoyed me is a few artists, one of which somebody I was friends with on Facebook who posted on their Facebook. They're like, see, this is an example of what I'm talking about when I get annoyed with people being not saying my prices are too high, which is a good point so far. So far we're making a good point. But then she said, these are industry standard prices. And I'm like, no. No, they're not.
Yeah.
So you're kind of living on a different planet if you think that's the industry standard.
Certainly not industries. Actually, I mean, to be fair, it's somewhat industry. I mean, if I remember correctly, the pricing were like 2 figures is $5,000 or something like that. And like, you know, when I was in college, we had professional illustrators come to our school and like tell us about, you know, what it's like to work in the business, et cetera, et cetera. And I remember the one lady telling me like, yeah, like I did this illustration for like New York Magazine. I got paid $6,000 for like a month of work on this one drawing. And I was like, that's a lot of money. I mean, if I made $6,000 in a month, like I'd be doing a lot better than I am right now. So like for one illustration, I mean, 6,000, 5,000 is not unheard of.
I know that.
Also,
I do know that.
Yeah, but I was just, I guess.
But I mean, still saying like it's industry standard for like that's not
For a drawing of
Right.
Yeah, commissions are a completely different sort of industry. Like maybe they're not. Maybe commissions are just, you know, art jobs under a different name. Who knows?
And also it varies depending on the person's work and what they do.
Yeah.
And
I don't know. There's a
Largely,
lot-
it's based on like that person's ability to get the work done and like their quality when they make it. Like, I'm not going to charge 5,000 for 2 figures on a drawing because I'm not quite as confident that my work holds up to snuff under that sort of pricing right now. I'd like it to be, but it's just not right now.
$5,000 or $6,000 for a complete, like, fleshed out illustration is not unheard of. I know. It was just like their things that they're like 1 figure, like $3,000, 2 figures, $5,000. Like, just that is not. I guess
That's not industry standard, I would say. But if that person's able to charge it, hey,
Then go for it. That's awesome.
yeah.
Plus, I think there actually is like a industry standard book they put out each year that has all the prices. And
Something like that. There's
It's
definitely a guide
less than that.
somewhere.
Yeah, it's less than that, but I'm not saying it's way off. I'm not saying you should be making nothing.
Yeah.
I've spent my whole freelance career dealing with people being like, "What? That's what it costs?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah. I had that one comic I was doing for a very long time, and I charged a very low price for the pages because I assumed that we were also going to be splitting any revenue made off of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then the dude wanted more work than we initially agreed upon, so I raised my price because I was like, look, I've done like a bunch of work on this, and I can't continue at the current price. And like, since we're not even in the stages of like trying to sort of recoup our losses, especially like my last time on like the first issue, before we even start working on new drawings, like I'm just gonna have to get paid more. So that was a whole price haggling sort of conversation that happened between the two of us, and I actually got an email recently saying he's gonna move on with the project with somebody else, which I'm okay with. He wants me to do some like last changes to the whole thing, and I'm not sure I want to, because some of them are just like redoing like the whole page, because like I gave him sketches of everything and he had like a year to decide how he wants the sketches changed, and now like after everything's said and done he wants stuff changed. So
Yeah, there's got to be a
Spinning
cutoff
me
point. Kind of depends on
Yeah.
how what you feel like doing.
yeah, I'm gonna take a look. I take a look at the offer. I haven't really mulled it over quite so hard yet because I just don't want to think about that project for like a little longer.
Fair
But,
enough.
If the guys want to pay me some extra cash, I might do like some of his changes, but like I'm certainly not gonna entertain it for very long.
Right. I need to.
But
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
Knowing what to charge
It's a difficult thing.
It's tough.
gets
Like,
easier as you get. The longer you've been doing it and the more work you get, it gets easier to charge correctly.
Yeah.
Because if you have
Plus, the
more-
more work you do, you have more like backup to be like, yeah, well, I charged this, so.
That's the thing. The more steady stream of work I have in, the more I'm okay with being like, here's the price. If you're not cool with that, that's fine, because I will move on to the next job that is cool with paying it.
Yeah. I did this book for this guy. It's called Reflections of Me. It's on Amazon. I'll post a link to that too because I like to make use of the Discord. Also, Captain Sheepy, I just want to say I see your emoji lifting a heart into the air, giving us spirit bomb powers. I appreciate that. You are much loved on this channel. But yeah, I did work on this guy's book called Reflections of Me. Like, they had an illustrator previously. It's hard for me to type and say a different sentence at the same time. They had a previous illustrator on the project, but then they dropped out, and then they couldn't find anybody for a while. And then this was back when I was living with like Savannah and Celine and the others, and Yalen. They like had their teacher stop by to help them with the project, and then like he saw me, and I was like, hey, hi, I'm the roommate, I'm an illustrator. And he's like, oh, you're an illustrator, I'm actually looking for an illustrator for this book. So then he like showed me some drawings, and he was like, do you think you could like do stuff of this type of quality? And I looked at it, and like not trying to be like a dickhead or anything like that, but I just kind of looked at it, and I was just like, oh yeah, easy, oh my god, totally, yeah. And so he was like, oh, I like the confidence. So like we worked on it. The book was done. He said he really enjoyed working with me. He's been really busy, so he hasn't like managed to keep in touch, but he would like to do future projects with me and things like that.
That's awesome.
But he like when we were first discussing the project, like figure out pricing and things like that. Like I remember like I thought about it, like he told me the number of pages, like what was expected, and like because I was doing a lot of redraws of like already done artwork, I was like, well, it's not as much work as before since I'm not like starting completely fresh in some of these drawings. So I considered it, and I gave him a price of like $800, I want to say, for the whole shebang, which to me seemed reasonable, but I wasn't sure because again, like I wasn't used to doing this sort of thing. And we're on the phone and we're talking, and I'm like, yeah, so like 800 for the whole project. And like it's like there's like a second delay, and then he's just like, I'm not gonna pay you that. And I was like, oh, okay. And then he's like, because that is way too low. I'm gonna pay you double what you just offered me. And I was just like, oh my god, that's amazing. And then he actually ended up throwing me an extra $1,500 over the course of the project too,
That's awesome.
for all the work.
No,
I mean, it helps that he was a school teacher, so like teaching people how to price themselves properly and like make it in the world was kind of like his bread and butter already. Anyways,
good client right there.
What was that?
That's a good client right there.
That is a good client right there. I'm more than happy to do projects with him, and that was a very, very appreciated moment in my career, was that conversation with that guy. And I try and sort of make sure I price myself more appropriately ever since we started that project.
Yeah.
Because you know, he was trying to instill a lesson in me, and I think it would be cool if I took that to heart.
And also, you know, you help out all other artists by charging appropriately.
Exactly. That's actually an also under-discussed aspect of this whole thing, is that when you price your work low, you also sort of drive down the market for other artists, because then, like, you know, we were saying before, like, somebody will just, like, we were saying, like, with clients, like, oh, if we don't like the client, if we're getting a bunch of work, we'll just move right on to the next client. But, like,
but if they get
same
validated,
time, like, sorry, what was that?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, like if you charge low and then like somebody else is charging like $5 for like incredible art as well, like that person's gonna go to the guy who's charging $5, and then everyone's gonna assume that like to get like a Magic the Gathering card type illustration, you have to only pay like $5, and you know, that hurts all of us.
Right. As soon as they find an artist to do good work for a low price, they get validated, and every future job they're looking to find more of that.
Yes, exactly. And then, like, you know, who has to meet their expectations towards that lowered expectations? You know, it becomes that sort of struggle. And, you know, a lot of folks, especially like websites like Fiverr, that's also a big perpetrator of that sort of thing. Is like, I mean, you can set your own price on Fiverr, but I've heard a lot of people tell me that, like,
I've heard some people get crazy cheap work on there that's like good. Like somebody, I just saw something recently. Somebody's mutual friend was showing me something that someone, like, one of their mutual friends, like, got done on Fiverr, and it was like they had like a logo done, and it came out really good, and I'm like, dude, why are you on Fiverr doing this stuff?
yeah,
But I don't know the person who did it, but I'm just saying, like, you can get good
absolutely.
stuff. Unfortunately,
And you know, Fiverr like kind of fosters the sort of environment where if you know you charge yourself too high, somebody's going to be like, well, I'll just go to like the person next in the line,
right?
in like the recommendeds. Fiverr's pretty rough like that, so you know, it's a hard world trying to price yourself as an illustrator.
It is. You gotta get used to people turning you down. That's a hard lesson in the beginning because you're excited that people want your work.
Yeah.
But then once that the newness of that wears off, it gets easier to price yourself.
Yeah, and there's like plenty of folks who will be plenty nice when, like, I've been turned down before for client work, and like I've been lucky, like they were very respectful. They're just like, hey, I'm sorry, this is just a little too high for my price range,
Right.
and I've been like, sure, I'm happy to also work out like a payment plan, etc., etc. I'm happy to modify my work so that it maybe fits. Like, I'm not gonna like do more work for less, but I'm happy to modify how I do the work so that it's able to fit a price range more
Right.
affordable. But you know, you know, but that's like a person who was respectful when they declined it. So I was more than happy to sort of.
Yeah, and I'm always respectful of people who decline it too. I'm like, no big deal.
Oh yeah,
That's fine.
unless they're dicks. You know,
Right.
Like, ew, like what the fuck? Why would I ever trade? You're not worth this, you fucking.
But I've had some people that have turned me down who like were quick to be like, sorry if not to offend you. I'm like, I'm not offended. You don't have to buy this product. It's fine.
Yeah.
But I just think people are worried that they're going to be one of those dicks when they're not. You know, they're just not out of their budget.
Yeah, and I appreciate those people because
Yeah, I
they're
do
at
too.
least trying to be a good person and like keep a nice
They're aware of the
relationship.
problem, and they're trying not to be more of that.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's weird, like freelancing like yourself, like with no guidance. You make a lot. I feel like the only way you learn is by making like 1,000 mistakes, like
Yeah.
like in the jobs you take and how you market yourself. At least for me, like just like a lot of bad choices throughout the years, and that's how I've gotten to the place where I am now, where I know what I should charge, at least to a degree,
Yeah.
and when to say no and stuff.
It's a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of like learning. Trial by fire, I think, is more the appropriate term. But it's a lot of that. It's a lot of just sort of learning. Oh, this was a bad idea. I need to not do this sort of thing again.
Right. Just learning the value of your time.
Yeah.
But if somebody ever does offer you a job in exchange for some good exposure, then take that job immediately.
Oh my
Dude,
God,
like
exposure.
if you get some
Why would I
exposure,
ever-
you're gonna be famous in no time.
the exposure, like, why would I ever need money if, like, I mean, if I get exposure, then the next person will pay me in money, and that's a fact.
I think you can. I think you can eat exposure, and you can also pay rent with exposure.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm pretty sure if you crawl underneath enough exposure, it will also provide shelter.
Sometimes you just gotta make sure you're not overexposed, because that can lead to skin damage and other such bad
Being
side effects.
overexposed, you can get a sexual. You can become a sex offender.
That's true, yeah. Especially if you're near a playground or within like 300
Right.
yards of a school.
The goal is to be underexposed in those areas.
Yeah, like if this were a camera and we were looking through the lens thingy, like to see the exposure, you don't want to be zebra stripes. You want to be too dark to see. For those of you who don't know, when you have a camera and you look through it, like a fancy camera, if it's too bright, if you have like certain modes on, it'll be all zebra straight.
Oh, that's true, actually. I didn't understand what you were saying, but now I do.
I was secretly saying that for Brandon.
Thank you for filling me in.
He doesn't know these things. He's stupid.
Are you talking? I can't hear you. You're talking so quietly.
They can hear me, but you can't. That's how whispering works. It's like
You
there's a
can't
joke
whisper
in
on the
Family Guy.
internet.
What was that?
You can't whisper on the internet.
That's right. You can actually. There's a lot of especially live chat applications where there's a specific function
Called whisper.
called whisper. Yeah.
True. True.
But there's a joke in an episode of Family Guy where they're like, this guy's like, oh, we have to have a conversation. We're gonna have it like 1 foot over to the left so that the people over there all of a sudden magically can't hear it. So then they like take 1 step to the left and they start talking, and then they like zoom out so that you can see everybody who's like in the area, and it's like 2 guys having the conversation, and then like everybody else like less than a foot away, but you can't hear at all like the conversation that they're having. And then like they do that joke, and then they do it again like a little bit later in the episode, and the conversation ends with Peter screaming, and then like you see him, it's silent as he starts the scream, and then he takes a step backwards towards like the rest of the group, and as he takes a step back, like the scream becomes like audible. So it's like,
Here we go.
ah!
That's funny.
It's a very clever joke. One of these days I'm gonna stop talking about like Family Guy on this show. Or just switch all the way over to talking about Seinfeld.
I want a written description of every episode of Family Guy.
I mean, I can do that.
Written out so I can just read the type version.
I wish somebody would like pay me money to be like, you're gonna watch like this entire season of this show, and you're just gonna write about your favorite jokes on it. And like, if I could be like paid to review TV seasons, like that sounds like a pretty sweet job, to be honest.
Yeah. The first step is
Right.
getting people to care about my opinion.
Yeah, that's the hard part. I can't get anybody to care about anything I do.
Then after you get that out of the way, then welcome to Flavor Town.
That's right. I used to read, what's the name of the website? Shit. It was like part of Uproxx. Like I found it through Film Drunk,
Okay.
which I like to read their film reviews because Vince Mancini has pretty good opinions on films, and he hires good people on his website to write good opinions. Although I haven't checked the website recently, or I haven't really listened to the podcast in like a year or so, but I like that place. Warming Glow, that was the so like they had Film Drunk, which was the film version, and then they had Warming Glow, which was the television recap. And I forget who wrote for Warming Glow, but I remember like his writing style was very good, and he was always very thoughtful about like what he was saying about the shows and things like that. I like to read like really good opinions on things.
Yeah.
Like especially ones that like kind of go beyond just like I like the 8 out of 10, like ones that like really dig into like the themes and stuff.
Yeah.
Like there's a video game reviewer, Heather Alexander, I think is the name of the person, but they tend to write like really solid reviews that like even after like I read the review, even if I haven't like played the game, I'll be like, I have some stuff I have to think about for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a cool thing that a writer can do that.
Yeah, it's cool when people really take something that could be dismissed as like simple, like a video game or a movie or cartoon, and then really like break it apart and explain like the nuance and like the writing, like the writing on like a almost like a intellectual level.
Yeah, like here I'll just read the last line from Heather's Death Stranding review, a game which I have not played.
I haven't played
But
it
this
either.
is like what was that?
I haven't played it either.
I haven't, but I have a buddy who watched somebody play it, and he was like, the rest of that week he was just like, it's the best game ever. You have to play
Really?
it. It's so good.
I feel like that would be the worst game to watch, but I don't know for
I
sure.
know. But it's apparently got like a very solid story, or it's
Okay.
at least got like a very cool story. I don't know, but
Well,
like
then,
it says,
yeah.
like this is the last paragraph from that review. The silver lining, of course, is other people. Death Stranding is not a subtle game. The mechanics are the message. Build connections, use those to literally span divides. Even as the story swells to a convoluted chaos that would make Metal Gear Solid's 4 monstrous cannon-welding blush, Death Stranding's most fundamental point is not hard to understand. Yes, this is hell. Yes, we are falling apart. Yes, this might be the end, but there is redemption in other people. Which, if you read the rest of the review, they expound upon all that. But,
Spoiler alert! Jeez, man.
I know, right? I'm so sorry.
Way to ruin it.
But yeah, it's cool. It's like talking about the deeper elements of the game more so than just like,
Right.
like this game graphics pretty, but I don't like the way I trip and fall when I have packages. 6 out of 10. I think video games as a medium have been full of subtlety and nuance, not necessarily all the time, but like a lot of them have, like, you always see gamers being like, games aren't political, and I can always think of like 10 that are like related politically to like the current, or at least like 3 that are related to like the subject that they're like complaining about in the first place.
Right.
Of games that like are political, and it's not like the games have to be political, but I like it when they say something.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on the game. Some games can
Yeah.
be simple if they know what they're trying to be.
Yeah, I'm not looking for like social commentary out of Doom.
But yeah, if a game's trying to be like poignant and smart, then I'm all for it if they pull it off.
Yeah, it's like when you watch Futurama. It's a funny show, but then they have those episodes where they're like, "I'm gonna cry, you little bitch. I'm gonna make you fucking cry."
Yeah.
And then those are the episodes that everyone's like, "Man, Futurama's a real good show."
Yeah. It's like, oh, you came here to have a good time? It's like, I'm gonna make
Guess
you
what? We have
cry.
more in store for you than you expected.
Speaking of video games, so this is something I thought was kind of simple and not necessarily something that I would say like you have to go play it, but kind of interesting, and I admire the creativity there. But so since E3 got canceled,
Yes. Oh, you talking about the Devolver?
I am, yeah.
I think it's so cool. I want to play it, but my computer could not handle
I
it.
played it,
it's like a cool way to do all the stuff. You wander around
I
and
love
there's
the idea.
Yeah, it was a really cool
Sorry.
idea. But
Go
you
ahead and,
you wander around
go
like
ahead
an
and explain it to the folks.
wander around an abandoned.
it says it's like canceled expo hall, like of a gaming event.
And there's all these, it's like all like spooky, and there's all these like security bots that are trying to stop you. And from one of the booths, you grab a t-shirt cannon and you fight off the security bots with the t-shirt cannon. And as you're making your way around, there's all the booths that have like the actual trailers for the games with like some like the developers talking about them a little bit. So it's like you get that same experience you would normally get, but they did it in a super creative way that I've never seen done before.
Yeah, I love the idea behind it. Like, I think I've always wanted, like, sort of something like, I don't know, like, not necessarily exactly that, because I think it's a very novel idea, and I don't want to be like, I thought of it a long time ago. But I have thought before, like, like E3, especially when, like, they made, like, before, E3 was always sort of like, you had to be working in the industry before they would let you in, sort of event.
Right.
And, like, I was always kind of bummed because, like, you'd have folks going to E3 being like, I'm going to E3 and I just to play the new Grand Theft Auto. And, it's cool, but it's very exclusive, and, like, I don't know how I would get my foot in the door in the games industry. I don't know if I want to, but I would love to go to E3, or I would have loved to go to E3 sometime. So it's cool that, like, they do this sort of thing, because first of all, you can make booths or exhibits that, like, are more than you can actually have in real life. Like, I'm sure there's some, like, of the stages or something like that in that particular, like, Devolver Digital Expo thing that, like, maybe you couldn't necessarily create.
Yeah, the booths were way more elaborate than they are if you actually went to the show.
Yeah, which I think is also a very, like, there's a game called, like, Namco Museum or something like that.
I know what you're talking about. They've made a few of those.
Yeah, and, like, it's like a PS2, or, some of them are PS2 games, whatever console it's on, but, like, it's basically like a virtual museum. You go in, every room for, like, the game is, like, done up to be, like, exemplary of the game, and it's always, like, cool stuff like that. And I just think that's, like, a cool way to show things off that I think it's underutilized. Like, not really, like, you guys make games, and you could also totally show off the game using games.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But no, I agree.
I'm glad that they did it.
It's a way more inclusive way to do it than watch a bunch of people you don't know tell you what's good from this event.
Yeah.
On the thing that you're super interested in. It would be cool if there were some demos in it, but
that was like,
they were not.
That's like the missing ingredient. I think. Like the ability to like.
Were the demos like if you were there type thing.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that, no.
But still a cool idea. Pretty neat. And there's a few games that they have coming out this year that I'm actually pretty interested in.
Yeah, I actually just downloaded Carrion on Xbox Game Pass.
That's the first one that I was gonna say. Looks
Nice.
great.
I'm excited to play it. I feel like my tablet could run it.
Yeah, it looks like the graphics are pretty like inclusive to all the computers, but in a good way. I still like the style a lot.
Yeah. I've actually been playing Dead Rising 1 recently, because they were like Dead Rising 1 and Katamari Damacy were like $10 each.
Cool.
On Steam. So I got those and like some other game for like super duper cheap. So I could like take $5 off for the $30 or whatever. I got Dead Rising 1, I got Katamari Damacy, and I got something else. I don't remember. It's worth looking on Steam if it loads fast enough. This is taking a very long time. I got Persona 4 also.
Nice. I've heard good things about that. I've never played it.
I played a little bit of 4, and I had a really good time with it, like on a friend's console, but I never got a chance to like really get into the nitty gritty. So I'd like to, have a chance to put like a nice. I like a good JRPG where I can just like grind and level up and like do dungeon crawling and things like that. Because I can listen to podcasts while I do that shit, but it's also fun and it scratches that itch for a fun time waster that I'm looking for in games. That's why I've also been looking into getting .hack the series, because those like they have the whole series as one game on Steam, and I played a little bit of that on that same friend's console. Very similar type of game where it's very dungeon crawly and you can waste some time on it, have a good time. I like those games.
Yeah, that's cool.
So that's one that looks cool to me. The other one that looks pretty cool is there's one called, I saw you threw it on your wish list, so you saw it too, but Fall
I
Guys.
throw everything on my wish list.
Fall Guys is like a 60-person battle royale, except it's like basically like most extreme elimination games.
Yeah, it looks like yeah, exactly.
Like literally, some of the games from it are from Takashi, however you say it, it's Castle, the show that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about now.
The whatever, and the footage they use for MXC.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Like, they have the one where you sprint through doors, and some of them are just walls, and some of them are, like, easily breakable. So, like, as you're running, you'll, like, hit a wall, or you'll fly through.
Yeah, you'll splat or you'll.
but I don't know. That just sounds like a fun one to play, especially with like friends. If you all like, I know it's like a battle royale, but you could still all play in the same round.
Like
I'm sure.
They call it a massively multiplayer game because they like have up to 60 people on servers at a
Right.
time and things like that, which is interesting.
And you go round by round, and it narrows it down until there's only one left. So that's cool. But also, something else cool about it is assuming that it's popular and successful, they can just keep adding new games to it all the time because it's pretty relatively simple in design.
Is that a Devolver game?
You know, it was. I didn't realize that, but it was in their little like show, so I'm assuming they are somehow related to it. Whether it's a smaller studio making it, usually that's how it works. The big studios just produce something that.
Yeah. Like some small indie dev was working on something, somebody takes notice, they snatch it up,
Yeah,
they release it, they pump money. That's what happened with Untitled Goose Game in the Epic Game Store. They were kind of working on it, and then Epic,
Makes sense.
rights, and
If you have a
because
studio
they're
with money to make sure your game can be made.
yeah.
Otherwise, you stay in early access for 10 years, and
Yeah.
then you just make an announcement saying, "Yeah, we just stopped making this."
We got
After everybody's
tired
bought it.
eventually. Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Thanks,
okay.
assholes. Like I get getting tired of working on a project, but like if it's lucrative enough that like it's paying your bills for a while, like I don't understand what the.
I think a
what
lot of
the
times the
economy is.
issue is that it stops being lucrative.
Well, I imagine, but like I don't know, some of them like. I don't know how the economy works behind some of these early access games. Like 7 Days to Die, right? Like I know people who still play that. It's a fun game. It's fine. Still gets updates, but like it still feels unfinished. And
Yeah.
I've had it
So
for
long.
5 years, and it's been in early access for longer than that. It's like, at what point does that guy run through his money, and like, what does he do then? Does he start releasing it like DLC? His updates aren't small on the game. Like he does seem to be putting in work into it. It's just, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how the economy works and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I don't either. But yeah, so sell out is the message I have for all of you.
Out. We're trying with this.
Let a big studio buy you and then dissolve you after
Use
you
some
make them a
mattresses,
great
please
product.
fund us.
After you make a game that makes them a lot of money, they'll dissolve your studio and
Yeah.
then until all
Like a
that's
guy
left
who
is
made
EA.
Eleanor.
But yeah, I've been looking for something to play lately, something I've had, and so I reinstalled a bunch of games that I never finished. Well, actually, some of them I did, but I reinstalled Subnautica, which I barely
Nice.
scratched the surface of.
That I've also been interested in, but it's on. Like I don't think I can.
Yeah, maybe we'll just have to stream it to you, and then you can
Yeah.
tell me what to do. And then I also
Go
got there's a fish. And then I also got Max Payne 3, which I have beat, but I just really enjoyed it, and it's been many years, so I want to play that again. The shooting's really just holds up. It's just fun. The bullet time is good in that game, so it's fun. And they give you a lot of like sets or whatever, like level design where you like there's lots of things to jump off of in slow motion, and that's pretty fantastic. So that's good. And then I re-downloaded Resident Evil 7, which I've never beaten because I always get scared and then uninstall it. So we'll see if I make it further this time. And then what else? Oh, Sunset Overdrive, which I haven't really played yet much of. I played like 10 minutes or something.
Well, I'm excited for you to finish 7, because I love that game. That game is fantastic.
All right. Well, I'm thinking 6 times the charm. So
6 times the charm. There you go. I did it in one. I beat 7 in 2 sittings.
that's amazing.
We were just
I think a lot of these games, especially scary games, are not as long as you might think they are. They just seem long because you like skulk through the map real slow and like hide all the time. And
oh yeah, for sure.
if you're just like charging forward and being confident, you can probably beat it in like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, also like if you're just having a good ass time, like you're just gonna sit down and really like I played it for like 8 hours the first sitting, and then like I was playing it with my ex-girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Played for like 8 hours the first sitting, then we woke up the next morning and just finished it off like the last 4 hours right there. It's a good game. I love it.
Cool.
Resident Evil 7 is such a good game.
The PlayStation 5 announcement, they announced another first person, like kind of off the, kind of like, I don't know what you call it, but like, I feel like 7 was kind of its own unique thing with like kind of, it had some of the tonal comparisons to Resident Evil, unless there's more in the story that I don't know about, but it's kind of its own thing.
Oh, no.
And
It's a little thing, but they harken back to earlier in the series, especially in spoiler territory. They do more sort of crossovers with the rest of the series.
okay.
But the game itself like plays like if they were like making a like especially like 7 and Resident Evil 2, but 7 specifically plays like if you were playing a Resident Evil game but in first person mode. And like if Resident Evil 1 was made nowadays in first person mode, that's what 7 feels like. It's so tonally consistent with like how the series feels to play. It's so good. I'm a big fan.
Nice.
Like, it's like such an it's the perfect evolution in like the gameplay style in my opinion. It's yeah, I like it a lot.
I forget what the new one's called, but yeah, they announced a new one that looks like another first person, kind of like not, it's kind of its own story again type thing in the same way that 7 was.
That's something that Resident Evil does do a fairly surprising amount. I guess a lot of games kind of do that sort of thing where they'll like sort of do something that's kind of like part of the universe, but they won't necessarily.
Yeah, you have
like,
to get big enough
Silent
to
Hill.
do that first.
Yeah, Silent Hill does a lot of that too, where some games are just like in Silent Hill, but they're not really necessarily like following the same characters or things like that.
I haven't played many Silent Hills.
In
In fact, I played none except for the one that you showed me, and I still haven't finished that either.
It's interesting how those games like. What's interesting, I didn't want to say anything as we were like playing it, but like one of my favorite parts of the game, you happen to just like miss because you didn't go down that particular alleyway. It's fine. It's just I think you missed it. I don't know. I don't think it happens later, but like. And there's also some observations you made that I'm like, I can't wait until you finish the game so I can tell you like how on point that observation was or things like that. But the one thing that you missed in the game that I really like is you see like these notes that are like kind of scattered around this alleyway.
Yeah.
And if you read the notes, it's like somebody kind of like their notes on the monsters of Silent Hill. And then when you get to like the second last note, it just says run away, and then like you pick up the next note and it's just like run away, run away, run away, run away, run away, and then like that's when a bunch of monsters come and attack you.
That's pretty awesome. That's a good moment.
Yeah.
So after you talked about Katamari, I've been playing it again too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And because I still never beat it. I've Damacy, is that how you say it?
Katamari Damacy.
Yeah, I haven't beaten it, but I've been playing it again.
How I first got those games is actually not an interesting story at all, but I'm gonna tell it anyways.
I went to the store and there it was on the shelf.
I bought them off Amazon because I was just like, I hear these games are good. I'll buy 1 and 2. They're $20 each. $40 well spent because they arrived like 2 days later. I beat the first one again in one sitting, and then I beat the second one. It's a little bit longer, so I didn't beat it in one sitting, but I still beat those games with the split. I still played We Love Katamari for many, many times after I beat it because like there's a lot of replayability, and there's also this secret mission that you get once you unlock like certain things that also just takes like forever to complete.
Right. Yeah, it's fun.
If you get all the presents and the cousins in We Love Katamari, you have to collect 1,000,000 roses. But like you can stop at any time you want and like continue your number because it turns out 1,000,000 roses is a fuck ton of roses when they give you like 1 or 10 at a time.
Yeah. And you 100% of the games?
I never got all 1,000,000 roses, but
Okay.
otherwise, yes.
Nice. Yeah, they're fun. I've had a few games like that where I just went off a hype, not knowing anything. Like after they've been out a while, and I still had somehow not known anything about them.
Yeah.
And they've been great.
Yeah, it was definitely an impulse buy that was worth getting. It was money well spent. Fun fact: in the like version that we play, he's like, "Oh, I crashed and I got rid of all the stars. It was so romantic. I was just feeling myself." And then in the Japanese version, he's just drunk.
I like that better.
Yeah, me too. But I love the character of the King of All Cosmos. He's just so like his writing is just fantastic. They also have
Everything's fresh.
it's very fresh. He's always just being just his best self at all times.
Yeah.
In the PS3 one that they came out with, Katamari Forever, which is like a remix of a bunch of old Katamari levels, he builds a robot King of All Cosmos who is like the opposite of him because he's like super depressed and like bummed out about everything, and his lines are pretty fun too.
Yeah, they're weird games, but that's kind of what makes them great.
Yeah.
What do you like so much about them?
They're fun. They make me feel good. I love the music. Just very relaxing.
Yeah.
I played We Love Katamari like at a very cool time in my life where like I got a chance to just kind of like really chill and just play it and have a good time. So it's got a special place in my heart for that too. But most of all, it's just kind of happy, peppy, and stylistic in all the ways that I think I enjoy.
Cool.
I like that answer.
Yeah.
I hate it. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, hey, there you go, shut up. What was that?
I said I hate it. No, I was kidding.
You hate them? Oh no.
I was joking.
Looks like I'm gonna have to find a new host for this show.
What? That's all it takes to get fired.
That's right, you're canceled. Get off my
Is
show.
that cancel worthy?
I don't know. Cancel culture's not real.
Just like COVID.
That's right. But COVID's actually real. Have you seen the cake video everyone's talking about?
The cake video. Is it the one with the
You
shoe?
know about? Yeah, the shoe. The one with the shoe.
But there's been a lot of those before the shoe one. The shoe one just went viral.
I've seen a lot of those before.
They have. I think everyone's just really got nothing else to do, so they're really rolling with the whole cake meme.
Yeah.
But yeah, those videos have been around for a while. The part that I like, people have talked about this, but like the part that always fucks me up about those videos is that like chocolate fondant tastes terrible. Like
I
those
know.
cakes do not taste good at all. Like
I
I
agree.
would want to throw those cakes away.
I'm
Yeah,
happy you
what's-
say that.
Because
Yeah.
I worked in a bakery for many years, and
People would always come with like pictures and they're like, I want this, and it's like, yeah, that's not possible because we don't use fondant. Like that stuff's
That's terrible.
like clay. But I mean, it doesn't taste very good. Granted, maybe you want your cake. It's more about the look of them people eating it. I don't know. Depends on what your party is going for. But yeah, I'm not a fan either. It's pretty gross.
When I was working at the restaurant, we had a cake. Like we would cater weddings and stuff like that. And we had a cake from the cake boss like the one time for one of the weddings.
Really?
It was in the shape of a giant fucking hamburger. And it looked cool. It looked like a giant hamburger. But like, you know, when we saw it get cut, we were just like, look at all that fondant. That looks so gross.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like edible clay.
Yeah. It's like, what is it? It's basically just like stale chocolate, isn't it?
I don't know how it's made.
I don't think it's that simple. I think it's like I don't think it's stale chocolate. I think it's like some kind of, you know, mixture that you make to create this like really moldable. Yeah, we're both typing it in right now.
It's definitely got It's definitely got chocolate in it because I always hear.
Well, I think it can be different flavors. I think it's not all chocolate. Fondant is just straight up an icing that's like sculptable. You roll it out, but it doesn't have to be chocolate. It's,
I see so many people be like, "Oh, chocolate fondant."
Well, that
They're
exists.
trying to be fancy.
But it doesn't have to be chocolate. It's sugar, water, gelatin, and shortening. So like, yeah, like
basically it's icing, but like, you know, made to be malleable and
mhm.
pliable.
It's definitely a looks thing.
Yeah, it tastes terrible.
It's not.
Don't get a fondant cake for the love of fucking God.
Granted, you could peel that off and then eat the cake underneath.
This is true, but you know, especially for like those shoe cakes, you have to wonder, like, you know, if they're worried about like the looks, like, is the cake part, like, honestly, like when I eat a cake, like the bread cakey stuff is my favorite part.
Yeah,
I don't even like
That shit's
frosting.
gotta be good.
I mean, you can have some good like homemade frosting, and I'll admit it's good, but it's just not really. I don't like the buttercream stuff. That stuff's gross.
Yeah, me neither. I had like my birthday was not so long ago, and we had carrot cake,
Yeah,
and you know, I got it because I like carrot cake.
and then that's like cream cheese.
cheese frosting, which is better.
Exactly. Even though I'm not a fan of cream cheese, like I was okay with cream cheese frosting.
Yeah,
There's certain frostings I like. I like German chocolate, whatever that icing is. It's like coconut and like chocolate. It's pretty good.
so that's pretty good icing.
The whipped stuff is okay sometimes. Depends on what type of cake. But I don't like buttercream.
No, I mean, in general, frosting is just always like so much. Like I'm not sure if that's like the frosting that I've tasted on cakes, or if like it's just frosting in general. But it always feels like too much.
It's like
And like this is a guy who's got a huge. I have a huge sweet tooth. Like,
It's like
I
the
love sweets.
consistency of toothpaste, but it's all just like sugar.
Yeah.
Like grocery store, like frosting, like buttercream. I think is the kind of the frosting that most of us are familiar with, unfortunately.
I think so. Yeah, like the stuff that comes in those boxes that are like double spoon cake.
Yeah.
What's the name of that brand? Do you know what the name of that cake brand is off the top of your head? That like.
well, I mean, a lot of people make it, but Betty Crocker's a popular one.
Probably. I mean, it's like got the red box.
The red spoon.
Yeah, it's Betty Crocker. Betty Crocker has done a disservice to cakes.
Well, the cake is okay.
Yeah.
It's just whatever. It's not as good as like something homemade, obviously, but the cake stuff I can do. I just don't like the frosting.
By the way, you'll be so happy to know that I just, by the skin of our teeth, saved episode 32 of DrawBomb. When we were getting ready for this show, I saw that like there was 5 minutes left, and I was like, "Oh my God, it's not on YouTube!" So I went and I uploaded it real quick.
Well done. And that's
In
why.
episode 33.
And that's why you get paid the big bucks.
That's why they pay me the big bucks, because I've only lost us about 6 episodes of the show.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Lost to time.
There's been a few episodes that I haven't even like turned the audio on or.
That's
So you know, we all have our mistakes. All right. Would you like? I'm gonna throw away this drawing unless you. Are you still? Oh, you're working on yours. I like yours actually.
It's almost done. I just. It's always funny in Katamari Damacy when
People scream.
Yeah.
I just played a
love
mission
those
last
games.
night that was concerning where the whatever the king or whatever his dad is, the king of the cosmos, is that right?
Yeah.
He's like,
King of all cosmos.
he's like, we need ladies. Roll up as many ladies as you can. And like I'm just like rolling around like picking up like groups of like school children and all these women who are they're all screaming and cops are like shooting at me as I'm like rolling around and picking up all these women. I'm like, this seems wrong.
I would love to see, like, I should make a drawing someday of, like, if Katamari Damacy was, like, a horror game. I'm sure that's
it
probably
is if
the
you're
thing.
depending on the perspective. If you're anybody besides the Katamari or whatever the characters are called, then it is a horror game. They're all screaming and they get picked up. Not all of them. Some of them make weird noises, but
Yeah, some of them, like, go, ah, and sing and shit like that.
yeah, it's a good game.
It is a good game. This is completely unrelated to our current conversation, but I'm also pretty much done with my drawing. I think I fit all the dead bodies I can comfortably fit onto that Katamari.
Is it about comfort?
No, it's not about comfort. If I really wanted to, I could like just make it look like a crime against humanity. I want that.
Anyways, you were
But
saying.
I did a buddy of mine and I have been working on like a music project together,
Yeah.
and I've been doing some cover concepts, and I'm
You've
not
shown
gonna
me a
post them on
couple.
Twitter because they're concepts. But what was that?
I feel like you've shown me a couple.
I shown you one, but I
Okay.
just made another one today that I'm actually really proud of.
Nice.
But
Well, you
I'm
can
gonna
show
post
me in the
them
privacy
on
of.
Yeah, let me just hold it up real quick. Oh shit, it's so big. Holy crap! Hold on. I forgot my resolution is always like fucked on these things.
Oh my god, it's huge.
Whoops. Let me try that again. Where is the option to make this smaller? Oh my god. Hold on.
Been watching anything good lately, or what have you been doing in your free time?
Shitload of Seinfeld.
Oh, yeah,
Still
that's
watching Corner Gas with the family. Corner Gas is a good show.
I don't think you mentioned that to me. I'm not familiar with that.
It's a Canadian sitcom where it's like a small town. That's the first cover concept I did.
Oh yeah. I've seen. That's the one I saw. I like that.
Us in a Streets of Rage type fighting game. And then, so yeah, Corner Gas is like this dude's working in like a small gas station in like a really tiny town.
The corner store.
Yeah, and it's just like the characters, as doing the ridiculous shit.
Until you gave me the
That's it.
context, I didn't know you were saying corner gas. Corner gas
Ah.
doesn't sound like it sounds like a nonsense word. Until you.
It does, Corner Gas. That's the other cover concept I did right there today.
Nice. I like how you've been using a lot of like brushes that kind of look traditional in a digital way.
Yeah, I've been having, I love Clip Studio Paint. I know I tell you every time, but like, if
How
you
much
go
do
to
they
the
pay
Clip,
you?
what was that?
How much do they pay you?
They paid me like not enough. But if you go like to the Clip Studio, like just like there's Clip Studio Paint, and then they have like Clip Studio, which is like its launcher that you can choose to open up beforehand. But they have a button that says like Clip Studio Assets, and I click it, and then it just takes me to like the store page where they have like brushes that people upload, or like textures or auto actions, and just like a number of stuff that I can like this brush that I made this drawing with, I did just download it for free.
That's awesome.
One day off. Like, I don't even know the name of the brush. It's all in Japanese. I can't read it.
No. That's awesome.
Yeah. And I've been uploading brushes of my own to the thing as well. Like I uploaded one where I drew like 8 types of potato chip shapes, and then you can have the brush like throw particles around and things like that. So I made those the particles for all the potato chip drawings.
Oh, you've shown me that one.
Yeah, so I can like just paint potato chips all over my scene now.
It'll save you a lot of time all the times you're painting potato chips. I know.
And I
do
was
that
drawing
often.
a lot of potato
Yes,
chips.
you were.
Yes, you were. Nobody would.
Nobody would argue about that.
I was drawing potato chips. Yeah, I've been playing around with brushes and textures and stuff, and it's been a lot of fun. And I'm pretty proud with how how this cover concept looks. I think it looks really cool. Oh, I just did a thing. There we go. Okay, I fixed it. I see what you're doing now with your zombie head.
Yeah.
You know, it's a fun thing that people do that I've been meaning to do more of.
What's that?
Is you know how like when Cuphead came out, people were doing like their cup sonas, and like when people were doing what else? I don't know. Whenever like a movie comes out with like characters, I'm not even sure what like the like prerequisites set off these memes, but like just like people doing representations of themselves as like characters from some property, like like I said, Cuphead. People did like cup sonas where they were drawing like what they would look like if they were a Cuphead character.
Yeah. Or at least that old like Steamboat Willie kind of style.
Yeah, but like cup sonas was like especially like it was a weird like meme that was definitely set off in Japan too. But like cup sonas, or like I saw somebody post today saying like I want to do a Last of Us sona, and just like for instance, in Katamari Damacy, the Prince of all Cosmos has like a bunch of cousins who you can get, and like they all have like ridiculous characters. Like I've seen, at least when in the heyday of Katamari Damacy, people doing like their cousin sona or something like that, and that sort of stuff is always fun. I wouldn't mind participating in.
Yeah, I've done some of those before. There was one that was a few years back. It was Witch. There was a popular one. It was Witch Sona. You could make like a witch or a wizard.
Witch sona. Yeah.
I did that once or twice.
Shit. What was that another one? I was like, crap. I just had a different sona idea in my head, but I forgot it. But yeah, that'd be a fun thing to participate in sometime.
Yeah, I agree.
Make your bomb sona and send it in.
Yeah, make a bomb sona for yourself and send it in, folks.
We will post it on the Twitter.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I haven't posted much on there recently. I need to go through the backlog. We got lots of goodies.
Yeah, we gotta. Yeah, make sure you hashtag them up so folks will be like, "What is this?" And then they will come to our page, and then they'll leave.
I will. Sorry for not holding up my end of the the job.
Hey, I mean, I've forgotten to upload episodes to YouTube as admitted earlier in this very episode, so who am I to shit on you?
I apologize for the timing, but I have to call work real quick. I just got a message, so it'll take me like 5 minutes or less,
All right,
and I'll be back.
I'll just ramble about cup sonas.
Perfect. Let's give the people what they want.
Oh yeah, this is exactly the content we're looking for. Hi folks, this is Ian's TED Talk on cup sonas. Oh boy, sonas is derived from the phrase persona, which I think is a Latin term for a representation of a person, or you as a person. Persona non grata, which I actually have no idea what that means, but I'm pretty sure it means like you're a bad person and no one wants to hang around. Sonas. There's also the game Persona, which I just referenced myself having bought the fourth one earlier. So that's a thing. Their personas. Actually, I forget. Isn't it in? It might be in Persona 3 where you put like a weird type of gun to your head and shoot the persona out of your head, and that's like that's supposed to be like a representation of you as a person or something. I don't know, man. But there's all sorts of personas you can draw of yourself, like a Space Jam Sona, Seinfeld Sona, World War II Sona, cult Sona, cowboy Sona, movie like based on movies. So like your James Bond Sona, things like that. Are we is he back? Please help. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I know the prince is not orange. I did this on purpose. I'm making him orange prince. Orange. I'm calling. Actually, I've got it. This is great. Orange Sona. Who loves orange Sona? Ian loves orange Sona. I do. 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 Boy, that was the height of comedy that you're gonna get in this episode. I'm sorry, everybody. Just as a heads up, what you're contending with. Yep. Orange Sona. I dropped the Sona in the tuna. I dropped the Sona in tuna. Oh my god, he needs to come back right now. I don't know what I'm flailing. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm flailing. Oh, I hear noises. He's coming back. Oh my god, don't let him know how much I flailed.
Alright, I'm back. Sorry for so
flailing.
rudely. What? What's that?
I wasn't flailing.
Oh, okay, good, good.
How's it going?
We're over there covered in flop sweat. It went good. Mission accomplished. Everything's all good.
Cool. I'm glad to hear it. You tell him to fuck right off and that you're going back in quarantine?
I did. I said, I'm not going to jail for you or for anybody.
Jail? Huh?
What?
Oh, this is my side job.
Oh, okay. No questions needed.
Yeah, it's better you don't ask any.
Seems totally on the level.
Some big fellas will show up at your door and rough you up if we talk too much about it. Yeah. It turns out having big fellas to beat people up takes up way more of the budget than we had originally anticipated.
I don't know how the Joker affords it, man.
I know. Like, how does he get so many people on board? What does he pay them in?
It's like you get to live inside a weird like fun house, all the face paint you want,
Guns.
and then he just like kills you whenever he feels like it. And you
Like if
respect
he's
him
mad
for
at
it.
you for like a day.
Yeah.
There's this new Harley Quinn animated series that's like up
Yeah,
on
you posted a clip from it, I think last week.
My brother and I were watching a couple of clips from that recently, and it's pretty funny. I mean, I might try and figure out some way to check it out without having to subscribe to DC's subscription service. Cause
I thought I heard that it was moving somewhere. Like somebody's picking it up or something.
Could be wrong, but that'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. But yeah, in the one episode or the one clip we were watching, like the Joker was like hanging out with like one of his henchmen. I won't say who because it might be a spoiler to the show. I don't know. And then like the person like does the thing that pisses the Joker off, so he just like pours acid on the person's head and like explodes and like there's gore everywhere and stuff like that. But I was like, yeah, it doesn't seem like a good toxic work environment
Right.
now.
Like I've had some shitty bosses, but at least I don't have to worry about them killing me.
Yeah.
Outright.
Not directly.
Yeah, exactly.
The bosses are trying to kill you right now.
Yeah,
But,
they still, but
they're
just
trying to keep their
In a
hands.
more
less of a paper trail on that one.
Yeah. By the way, how do you like my I didn't draw the Prince of all Cosmos. I drew his
Cousin.
his
Orange Sona.
I love orange Sona. I do.
When I was flailing, I made that same.
Damn it. Well, good to know that nothing changed when I'm gone. It's literally, it would have been the same show.
Yeah. That zombie's got a small body compared to his head.
Yeah.
Is he cheapy?
It's because of all those brains.
Oh, he's got so much in his head now.
Yeah.
You'd think they'd go to his belly.
No, he's just very smart. That's what I mean. Not because of the diet.
Oh boy, can't wait to gamble aimlessly. That's
Man,
like one of those
the-
comics that were...
Are zombies brain dead, or what's going on when they're rambling?
I don't know. That's like one of those Twitter comics that would really pop off. Like if it was like a little 4-page comic of like a zombie just learning to be a zombie, being like, oh, what do I do? Oh, you all seem to be shambling. I guess I will try too. Wow, right?
Bill, do you ever think there's more to life than shambling?
Blah. Oh, Bill. Good old Bill.
Always with the same one-liners. You crack me up.
Just in life as he is in death.
I like the little segment in Midnight Gospel where they turn into zombies, and it's like turns out that it's like the best.
Yeah, it's dope.
It's like heaven, and, and basically then they get like they all get like cured, and they're like, no.
Pretty great. It's a good show.
Yeah, I like it.
Really finish it.
Last episode's pretty sad.
Oh yeah.
Just like the subject they talk about is sad.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's a good show. I liked it a lot, and the animation style is really great.
I love the animation. I think the format of it's really cool.
It is. Every time I see something like weird but original that I like, I'm like,
I hope other people like this because I just want more of it.
and
Yeah.
I'm not enough to get something to be, get something a second season.
Yeah.
I haven't filled out my Nielsen rating cards, so
Yeah, it was, like especially after like Community and Arrested Development, like I'm always like any show I like that comes on, like I immediately think to
Assume it's going
myself,
to be
okay,
canceled.
we'll have to get used to a life where this has been canceled.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
probably what
'Cause
happened.
apparently I'm the only one in the world who likes
the things that I like.
Yeah. Although it's also interesting because like Tuca and Birdie got like such universal praise. Like I saw a bunch of people talking about
Right.
how much they love that show, like on and off Twitter, and then like it got canceled anyway, which is pretty weird. But I'm glad that Adult Swim picked it
Yeah.
up for more seasons.
I didn't watch much of it. I watched, I think, an episode. It wasn't really for me, but
granted, it's also possible that I was watching it through the lens expecting more like, because of the visual style, like BoJack Horseman.
Jackie.
Yeah, so I could see that being my thing, where I was just like had a type of show in mind, and it's not that.
I can see that. Also, no show starts out. I think its first episode being
But
the
very
best
true,
episode.
very fair. Maybe I should watch more of it.
Yeah, I mean, especially since people say it's as good as it is, like it's definitely like maybe if like it's a show that you don't hear people talking about afterwards, then like maybe you can give it a pass. But like since folks seem to be really highly praising
Into
that
it,
show,
yeah.
like cause I also watched like the first episode and I was willing to check out more of it, but my ex-girlfriend was not super into it.
Oh,
so we
right,
didn't
right.
Watch it, but I mean I wasn't like rushing to go check out the rest of the show. But I had heard good things, so I was willing to give it a shot. But,
Right, I hear it.
I'll get around to it eventually. Maybe
Right.
once the second season is closer to dropping.
Where's that going to be at? Is it Adult Swim?
I believe so.
That's a good place for it.
Yeah. I like Adult Swim. I've heard sometimes their practices aren't the best, but I like Adult Swim. I think they do good work, and I hope that they, maybe have a slightly better track record than certain places for treating their workers nicely.
Right.
There's a lot of talk about Ubisoft.
Yep,
and how they
Ubisoft.
treat their workers.
It's been coming out a lot in the game industry in general. Like, I read an article recently about how they think, like, Rockstar is thinking that GTA 6 is, like, the next thing they're working on, but they're thinking it might take a while longer just because they're trying to be more self-aware about, like, how they've been criticized in the past for their crunch
That's
that
good.
they
I'm
put
glad
on
that-
people, so they're trying to do better, and I know,
I don't know, it's Naughty Dog's, but it's been getting discussed a lot, so I think that's becoming, like, that change is coming down the pipeline.
Yeah, Naughty Dog's in heat too because they apparently had this thing where like some reviewers were giving the game like not necessarily bad reviews, but not like fantastic reviews. Like somebody gave Last of Us 2 like a 7.5 or something like that, and then like Naughty Dog had like somebody call that reviewer and be like, "Hey, so what's the deal?" And like, you know, threatening
threatening
with like.
I could see if they contact them to be like, all right, tell us more. Like, you know, why do you feel this way? But like, if it's threatening, that's shitty.
Oh yeah, no, like you're also gonna find the article for because it was like they like I'm not sure if it's Naughty Dog specifically that did this, but like somebody had like people sent to their house at one point.
What?
I don't think that was Naughty Dog. I think that was a different company, but like some company sent people to the dude's house because of his review of their game to like try and sort of coerce him into giving a better review.
Really crazy. It's like what?
Yeah.
How do you expect that to work? Like to do it that way? Like seriously?
I mean,
in what world would like?
I mean, it did work. I mean, the thing is, like, you know, not only that, but they also like the guy who voices Joel from Last of Us 2. Like somebody wrote something about the game, like pretty not at all scathing about Last of Us 2, but just sort of like some guy tweeted that games should be shorter and like more refined, like shorter experiences if they're going to be like movies, because like having a 22-hour game like tends to run thin by the time you reach the end of it, and they can make like a tighter experience in like shorter time.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy was posting something pretty inflammatory just as like, you know, for shits and giggles, like troll bait, essentially saying like games should be shorter. And then the guy who voices Joel from Last of Us and Last of Us 2 like put up a quote tweeting the guy, and then like compare like with like a fucking, I want to say like Chomsky quote or something, like some like a quote, or Roosevelt, like a Theodore Roosevelt quote or something like that. And then like because he quote tweeted the guy, like the guy started getting like death threats from like fans of Sony and Naughty Dog and stuff.
It's
like
been
that.
weird the way the fans have been relating to that game, like that one, the girl who plays the villain in Last of Us has been getting death threats.
Yeah.
And it's like, what?
And, like
you're gonna get mad at like a fictional character? What are you doing?
I remember seeing stuff about that with like the kid from Stranger Things, like the what's the black kid's character's name? I don't know the kid. I haven't watched that show a whole lot.
I can't remember his name.
But so I remember. So I've watched about 4 episodes of Stranger Things before I stopped watching, for not reasons like I had to stop watching or I thought it was boring. I just
stopped watching.
I was watching it with, we weren't able to continue watching it as a group, and I never got around to finishing it myself. But I remember seeing some interviews with like the kids from Last of Us, and in Last of Us, like
Stranger Things, or you're talking about Last of Us?
What was that?
Stranger Things. You're saying Last of Us.
Stranger Things, yes. Sorry. The Stranger Things are the Last of Us. When they have like the kid, 17 or 7 or whatever,
7, yeah.
They take her to the house, and like they're like, look, I saved this girl who was getting chased by agents, and like the black kid's like, hey, this seems like some crazy shit, maybe we shouldn't get involved. And I'm like, see, this kid's thinking right here. Like this kid's a pragmatist. But like I remember seeing an interview with the actor, and he's just like, yeah, people walk up to me, they're like, dude, I hate you. And he's just like, I'm not the kid in the show.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
Rip.
you think, people don't have that disconnect. I'm like, thank you for complimenting my acting, but that's not me.
Yeah, or like Prince Joffrey got a lot of like shit.
Yeah, I can see that. Weird though.
I gotta find the thing about the. I know Jim Sterling talked about the game company that sent folks to the dudes, because like I mentioned Jim Sterling a lot when we're talking about like sort of the politics of video games and things like that,
right.
Because he sort of gets into those sorts of things a lot. Maybe it's this because he talks about the politics of the games industry a lot, which is part of why I like him so much. Is that he doesn't just like review games.
Is that the English guy?
What was that?
Is that the English guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched his Last of Us review after you were talking about it.
Oh yeah, what do you think of his video?
Oh yeah, he makes a lot of good points, and I agree with a lot of it as well. Some of the things that I said in like response, he actually said in that video too. So I was kind of more on the same page with him than I thought I was when we were discussing it.
Yeah, like that's the thing about Jim Sterling is I'll feel like even if I don't necessarily agree with his, with his opinion on something, like his reasoning for when he talks about it, or like what he, his like just like I never feel like he's speaking, just like pulling shit out of his ass. You know? Like he's always like talking about like if he has a problem with something, he'll explain it why, and he'll be understanding about it. It's just it's all.
I watch a lot of reviewers. It's kind of my main thing I use YouTube for, honestly, these days. And of all my favorite reviewers, I don't agree with them 100% of the time, but I just like the way they look at things and they break it apart and their opinions, and it helps. I don't know. I just like that. Even if they hate something I love, or vice versa. Like it doesn't mean I have to change my opinion. It's nice hearing somebody discuss some art you like from a smart standpoint.
Yeah. Like, I even like reading opinions from people who don't agree with me on certain things, because I posted a link to the Jim Sterling review about what we were talking about just now, by the way, in the Discord. But like I like reading why somebody didn't like something, and especially if they can sort of explain the reasoning in a solid way, at least that I'll sort of be able to more sympathize with, then I think it's fun, because I like to critically look at things that I enjoy and say like, hey, how could this, like for instance, like people who complain about Fight Club, and how it's sort of it's a takedown of like cults of personality, but at the same time they still end up sort of creating a person that people in real life sort of consider a cult of personality, and like a lot of douchebag incels like look up to Tyler Durden, things like that. And I think it's a fair criticism of what is like my favorite movie, and I think being able to sort of hear those criticisms as something you like is cool, because it opens your mind up to the
and it doesn't mean you have to like the thing any less. I mean, with art, you're always going to disagree with other people.
Yeah, and you can sort of open your mind up to like maybe finding something even better, like, and that's it's cool. It's like self-improvement in the most tangible format, I think.
Yeah, I like hearing opinions from other people who have different opinions. I don't know, it broadens your mind a little bit.
Yeah,
if you don't want to just sit in an echo chamber and only talk to people that like the stuff you like.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially when you can hash it out in a comfortable, engaging manner without necessarily it turning into like an argument, but like just hearing out different sides of it is nice.
Yeah, I like for movies I watch a lot of Red Letter Media, and they're pretty like dumb and silly, but they also like they really break stuff apart in a smart way, and a lot of times they just shred movies I enjoyed, and other times they talk up ones that I hated. So, but it's still fun to hear them explain why they feel the way they do.
Yep, absolutely. I had a buddy, and he's a good friend, and he's improved a lot as a person since I lived with him. But I did used to live with him. And if you ever like criticized something that they liked, they'd feel like it was a personal attack, and they'd like react as such. And it was just like it was annoying.
Here's like a weird insecurity thing.
Yeah, it's like very much a buyer's remorse effect sort of thing. I'm not sure. I think also like the reason so many people get like so caught up in their feelings about that sort of stuff is because you have so many people who are just like aimless, who like people who build their personalities off of like the thing that they like all the people who were like trying to be Rick during the Szechuan sauce craze, and like just like especially like Rick and Morty's heyday, which by the way I have seen the rest of the new season.
Did you like it?
Yeah, and what was that?
We don't have to get into that right now. Actually, you're talking about something else. I was gonna ask if you liked it.
But we should definitely talk about it at some point. But yeah, like in the heyday, like I remember reading Reddit articles where like some dude posted a thread on Reddit, and he was just like, hey, have you guys taken in your own Morty? And this guy's, and like it's just the worst. I hope it's fake, because it just made me want to like kill myself. But it was like this guy, and he's like, "Hey guys, I have a group of friends. I consider myself the smartest one in the group. You know, one of my friends is pretty dumb, but he's well-meaning, and I sort of take him under my wing as my own Morty. Like,
God.
I do etc. etc. Yeah, like just the most self-indulgent piece of shit post about like talking down to his friend that I've ever seen, and I just hated it. And I think it's indicative of like, you know, people who build their personalities off of like this fake thing that they really love, and it's unhealthy. And I think that's why people like send death threats to these people, is because they built their entire like worldview on like, I want to be like Rick from Rick and Morty, or you know, I gotta survive in a tough world like in Last of Us, and I gotta be rough and
Joel from The Last of Us is my favorite thing in the whole world, and they killed him.
Yeah, and I'm going to.
Maybe they did. I don't know. Spoilers.
I mean, I mean.
Well, still, I don't want to do one.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it.
That was just speculation. I don't know. Ha.
It was a cake.
He was a cake the whole time.
Yeah, that's probably a good explanation of that, actually.
I'm always super interested in like the sociological effect of like why something is like. I was talking with a buddy like who I'm working on that music project with, and he posted a meme where somebody like, it was like these different digital audio workstations, and it was ultimately like the joke was making fun of Fruity Loops, which I've worked in Fruity Loops before. It's confident. Soulja Boy made his first album in Fruity Loops, and I know a lot of folks who make good ass music in Fruity Loops, but it gets a lot of shit. And like we were just talking about like why societally do music producers look down on Fruity Loops, which is a perfectly competent program. And yeah, I don't know, like we took a deep dive into that, but I think that's just interesting stuff, is like why as a society do we react to certain things
I think
the way that we do, and like what neuroses are sort of lying underneath that, like all these weird fucking things that are like just plaguing us.
I think some people like this might be too simple. It might be more to it than this, but I think a lot of it is people they have some form of community by like hating stuff that other people hate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's where it mainly comes from.
even if they don't actually hate it that much.
Yeah.
And it's just
I
like.
also think. Sorry, what was that?
No, that's basically it though. Just like, even if they don't personally really feel that strongly about it, they feel some sense of community being like,
Man, this sucks. And somebody else being like, yeah, dude. And they're like, yeah. And then they're like,
Yeah.
I feel validated.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, as you know, with the internet too, also, like, I remember before the internet was really popping off, like, and I discovered shows like Arrested Development, especially Arrested Development. I remember, like, you found anybody around who, like, knew the show, or, like, you could make, you know, references and riff off of it with, like, you were just kind of like, oh, man, there's nobody I've seen who can do this who I can do this thing with. And then now on the internet, like, obviously it's the click of a button, you find, like, this community of folks who, you know, like the same thing you do. So, you know, I think before it was almost like a fun happenstance when you found like a group of folks who like the same show as you, and you're like, oh great, I can talk to them about it now. But now it's like that's commonplace. So now like the energy isn't spent trying to find folks who maybe like the same thing as you. You can do that no problem. But now you have like all this free time, and you were talking to all these folks who are into the same thing you are, and you've got all this pent up like aggression, honestly. So folks start coming up with weird ways to sort of pledge allegiance to like this community that they've sort of found themselves
Right.
in, I think. And like a lot of folks are just like sad and lonely, and so
Yeah.
like this community is like all they got. And so it's,
Right.
you know, it's just a compounding effect sort of thing.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying too, with the whole just looking for like validation in community.
Yep.
Going back to your Rick and Morty thing, that's something that's endlessly funny to me, because the people who actually see anything about Rick and Morty as an intellectual thing are just,
Yeah.
it's like people that are like, the Joker's deep. It's like, all right, you're.
I mean, I guess like he has some, whatever the way he was written, maybe has some depth, but not like in a real, not like somebody like that should be idolized in any form.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I mean, he's a good character. I like the Joker, but
But he's not, like,
he has like a following in the same way that like Rick does, or like all these people. It's all these people that see the character as something way different than the people who wrote him would.
Yeah.
Like the people who made Rick and Morty are like, this show is dumb as shit. We know it, and we're just having fun making it. And then like people look at it as just like, wow, it's really smart. That show is real smart.
Yeah.
And it's just
Like,
kind of ironic that those are the people that are like, man, I'm smart enough to understand this show. I'm the smartest in my group, so I found a Morty. Like, wait, you know, you're actually an idiot. It turns out
You're an
think
idiot
you're
because
smart.
you don't seem to understand that Rick is not the sympathetic character in all of this.
And Rick's not even I mean, he's smart from the way he's written, but he's not like all the science is just like never
He's not
shown.
happy.
Well, yeah, he's not happy, but also all the science and everything. Like you say, he's smart, but he's only smart in the sense that someone wrote down Rick is smart, because like all the science and everything is just him like twisting a screwdriver, and then he has the machine he wants. It doesn't ever like he's not actually doing smart things. In fact, his behavior is kind of stupid, which is kind of why the contrast is funny.
Yeah, like Rick as a character is written to be smart, but he never actually does anything tangibly smart.
Yeah.
Everything he does is reckless that you see, and all of the smart shit that he does is completely made up gobbledygook that isn't real, and just fucking is fake made up science. Oh, I took the plutonium crystals and I transversed their receptor qualities so that they will make a squeegee in your brain that turns you into an alternate reality Morty who is a squeegee.
Wow, you're smart.
Yeah, that's a smart guy right there. Oh, by the way, any of the life lessons are handed to Rick while he's like blazed out drunk by like a therapist.
Maybe Rick was at one point like had it together, but at the point that we walk into the show and meet him, he definitely does not.
Yeah.
He's like knows how to do stuff, and he's still smart, but like you could argue that like if he wasn't an alcoholic and like super depressed, he might be capable of much more too. But I don't know. I love Rick and Morty. I'm not mixed up thinking that it's some like that he's an actual genius.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
It's a cartoon. What are you doing? What are you talking about? It's a cartoon.
Like in The Office, when they had Dwight Schrute and Zach Woods' character, who I don't remember the name of, when they had them both dress up as the Joker for their one Halloween episode, those were the two perfect characters to have dress up as as Heath Ledger's Joker for Halloween, because those are the two types of people who totally would dress up as Heath Ledger's
Creed
Joker.
was the Joker too.
What was that?
Creed was the Joker
Creed?
too.
That's true, and 100% Creed would also totally fits that paradigm as well. I forgot if Creed was or not, but yeah, he totally.
After the whole code open is about to end, I think. Also, I don't remember how it goes if Dwight's storming off or what, but anyways, the elevator opens and Creed's in there, dressed as the Joker.
That's right. But I remember when I went to a Halloween party like the year in New York, the year Hurricane Sandy hit, like 2 days before Hurricane Sandy. I could actually see the storm clouds like off in the distance because it was a rooftop party.
That's scary.
But yeah, it was a little unnerving, especially because we went prep supply buying like before the party, just in case like they were caught without power.
I think that's how Cloverfield starts.
It is actually. You're right. We all go to a party.
Then
but yeah,
the
like,
Statue of Liberty comes sliding up.
Yeah, then the Statue of Liberty had crashes, probably killed somebody along the way. But yeah, I remember like going to New York. You had to go through Penn Station to get in from Philly, and like since it was so close to Halloween, like Penn Station was full of people in costumes, which was super cool. Just kind of seeing a train station full of like thousands of people and like hundreds of them are in costumes.
Yeah.
But also the amount of Jokers that were Heath Ledger's Jokers that I saw that year were at least more than 30.
I can only imagine, because the year that it was cool to be Heath Ledger's Joker, I saw a lot, and I lived in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
That's
like,
really funny though.
Yeah, so like, you know, for some reason, the fact that people ever like he was a cool character, sure, but the people who think he's like the good guy are like the same people who don't understand why Rorschach had to die at the end of blank.
Right. They kind of missed the point.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a weird thing.
It's weird. Yeah. It's
weird who people identify with.
It's Honestly, there's a meme that perfectly encapsulates it, and I'm sure you've seen it before, and I'll try and find it real quick. Hold on.
I might know what you're about to say.
Yeah. I just have to type 2 words and I found the meme right away. I'm gonna post it in the Discord again, folks. If you.
Is it the one about the gas station?
And it is posted. I'll post it on the DrawBomb too. Because that way we're talking about it on the show as well. Oh, why does it do this? Is there a way to rotate this thing?
I don't know. Is it the one about the gas station?
No.
Oh. Oh, it's like a drawing. Okay.
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna see if I can. Why? This is so stupid. Hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna post this meme that's already in the Discord, but I want it since folks can't, visit the Discord when they're checking out previous episodes. I'm gonna post it. Oh, here we go. Perfect size. Oh, Christ. Wrong layer. Bam! Oh my god, wrong. This never goes right. There we go. This is what I'm talking about.
Wow, cool future.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's it. That is all that Rick and Morty, Heath Ledger's Joker. Like, I remember when the Dark Knight movie came out, and I saw somebody post on whatever, like, social media thing it was. They were like, one of my goals for by the end of my life is this, to pull off that cool pencil trick the Joker does, the flare he does. And, like, I read that, and I was just like, can you, like, kill somebody with that pencil? Like, you want to kill somebody, like, just for shits and giggles before? Like, that's on your bucket list? Like, I think like, it's a cool trick, don't get me wrong, but I had no, like, desire after watching that movie to be like, what I want to do is, I want to also do a trick where I stab a guy through the head with a pencil.
I did that trick today with a swab into my nose.
You did, you got swabbed up that nose.
I did a swabberoonie.
You did a swabberoonie. Hopefully it's a negative Aruni.
It touched my brain.
And it was weird. But it was
When
fine.
it touched your brain, did you hear, like, radio static?
I visualized a swab when it touched my brain.
Oh,
That's apparently how brains work.
it just, like, popped up that
They
item that was
see
touching
whatever
it
you
in your
touch.
head.
Yeah, exactly.
Did it spin around, like, 3D, like it was on, like, a Lazy Susan?
Yeah, it did.
Nice.
I think I hit the reset button on the simulation.
Oh, no, you just have to start everything over?
Yeah, I'm a baby now.
You're a baby.
Goo goo and such.
Boo boo, gaga, you know the drill.
The rest.
Boo boo, gaga, all the rest.
I don't know what animal mine is, but it's something.
Your animal is a goat person wearing a shirt.
Yeah, he's pretty.
Mine's a llama.
It's
I don't
pretty
know.
goat-like. Yours is. It's not exactly. Yours is more goat-like than a. Yours is like.
He's almost a wolf.
It's not really a llama. It's kind of llama-like. He's bigger. He
Yeah,
looks
it's
like
not-
looks like a creature that would exist in the Star Wars universe.
It does kind of look like it's almost like a wampa mixed with a llama, a wampa llama.
Mm-hmm.
It also kind of looks a little bit like Falcor from Neverending Story.
Yeah, I could see that a little bit. I would ride him.
Yeah, totally.
True.
I mean, as long as he didn't spit on me, like with all that spit that I put in his mouth.
Right, and llamas, they love to do that.
They like to spit. I'm looking at a picture of a llama right now. I guess the only thing I really got wrong about the llama is the horns.
Yeah, I guess it's not that far off. They have a little bit more of like a afro.
Yeah, they got a little fro. Some of them have like some like less than Jake type haircuts though.
I have to Google llamas too now. Okay. Yeah, I suppose this is pretty llama-like here.
It's pretty llama. The horns are really what we're fucking it up.
Usually their ears are pretty like up.
Pretty much what the horns are doing.
Yeah,
That's what the
exactly.
ears do. Oh well, I don't feel like drawing this. I already colored it. Don't feel like changing.
No,
it.
I wouldn't ask you to. But
I'm
on
not
that note,
changing it. You hear me?
but on that note, it's about time for the end of the show.
Goodness. Well, this has been a good one, I would say.
Oh boy, easily in the top 34.
At the very least, I'm gonna say that might be shooting a little bit too high.
Oh,
But-
okay. Well, you know, maybe it's in. Is it fall into the 8 B-side episodes that were lost to time
You know,
and were widely more
stacks up to
successful
the-
than any of these somehow?
Yeah, so you know what? When I think it stacks up to the other ones, you know, I want to say it's as good as the first 8, but it's not as long, so it's not as good.
That's true.
'Cause some of
And-
those episodes of the first 8 were like 4 hours long.
Quality is measured by length. That's why I love Last of Us.
That's right, because it is too long.
And if you feel differently, I will send you a death threat.
That's right. If you do not agree with us about our very mild opinions on these subjects, you deserve to die. We're gonna post your address.
You get doxxed.
You get doxxed. You get threats.
So I hear you thought Last of Us was too long. Well, in response to that, threat.
I will shoot you down where you
Here's
stand. good
I'm
sir.
threatening you right now with death.
With death comes for ye who thought different to thee.
Exactly. Well, yeah, exactly. I guess that's kind of what I meant, I suppose, but in a different manner of
Didn't
speaking. Right? No, mine didn't rhyme. You're right.
And that's why the person was a little bit more scared by yours, because when you rhyme, it's almost like festive.
Right. People only rhyme on holidays.
100%. Or if they're, you know, Chaucer.
All right.
Did you ever read Canterbury Tales? Because holy shit, man, you'd think that the fact that it's written entirely in couplets would be entertaining, but it's not. It's actually exhausting after like the first 2 pages.
Well, you make it sound great, but I think no, I have not read it, and I probably won't now. You really
Tell you what,
tore
man.
Chaucer down, and you're really gonna hurt his bottom line. People are gonna stop buying his books.
Chaucer is gonna be so sad when he hears that my shitting
How
on
is
his
he gonna
couplets.
pay for his mansion?
His mead.
All right, I'm gonna play us out in 3, 2, 1.
What?
Oh, it's way too fast. No, I tried to count it down for you so that you would do a better job this time, and then you did the worst you've ever done. I want you to get it one of these
Man, I was
times.
really trying too.
I know, that was the most effort I've ever seen you expend. But, alright. Well, thanks for watching.
Yeah, folks. Thank you, Captain Cheaty, for being in the chat per usual.
Yes.
Thank you, anyone who's going to check us out afterwards on YouTube. Thank you for anyone who checks us out on the Discord. Brandon, you got anything you want to plug?
Watch DrawBomb every Monday at 8.
Nice. I'd like to plug... Well, I guess I plugged it earlier, but I guess I'll plug my favorites that I missed, the podcast. 2 of my friends
Oh, yeah.
do it. They just talk about like women in history who were pretty badass.
It's
Good
pretty
stuff.
cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Alrighty.
see you next week. Bye.